Hello, I'm Richard Navier, I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and your therapist, your counselor, your coach has asked you to watch this short video where I'm going to teach you a strategy for detaching from negative emotional states. Now, negative emotional states are things that we all experience in life at one point or another, maybe anger, maybe depression, maybe anxiety, or really any other emotion. It's certainly not bad to experience human emotions. After all, that's how we know that we're human beings, and so feeling these at times is a good thing. However, following those emotions and becoming enmeshed by those emotions or paralyzed by those emotions is where the problem lies. In the world of psychology, we call this cognitive fusion. In other words, our thoughts are stuck to our feelings, or our actions are stuck to our feelings. Chances are this has happened to you at some point or another, because it happens to all of us, even me. Now, the goal here in the practice session is to learn how to unstick ourselves from the thoughts, unstick ourselves from the emotions, to put a little bit of space between us and our emotions. And perhaps you watched an earlier video where I talked a little bit about mindfulness. We're actually going to use a very similar technique. Well, actually, we're going to use a technique of mindfulness, but expand on it a bit here so that we can actually detach from some of the negative emotions that we experience sometimes in life. The reason why we want to detach from them is real simple. We don't want to become those emotions. We simply want to observe or see the emotions. And there's a big difference. In fact, in my work as a counselor over the years, I've worked with a lot of people who experience high levels of anger or high levels of anxiety. They, in fact, become their anger or they become their anxiety. I, for example, used to be afraid to fly, and I overcame my fear of flying. But I work with a lot of people now who are afraid to fly, and they literally become their fear. They are fear when they even think about getting on an airplane. And by separating, putting some space between us, our own identity, and those emotions, can be a real gift to people who sometimes experience what might be called enmeshment with difficult emotions. Well, how do we go about doing that? In an earlier lesson, I talked about mindfulness, being fully present in the moment. And so, because I think this is an important strategy, we're going to practice it again here in this video. So go ahead and close your eyes for a moment and breathe in and breathe out. And as you do, breathe in and breathe out, pay attention to the breath. As you pay attention to the breath, you can even call the in-breath in, and you can even call the out-breath out. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Now notice any place in the body where you're experiencing tension and relax those muscles. And then continue to focus on your breath again, breathing in, breathing out, paying attention to the breath. Now this is something that is really important. You've already learned, just by focusing on the breath, a simple strategy. And that is that you can actually choose to focus on anything you would like to, including something as simple as the breath. And as you continue to focus on the breath, breathing in and breathing out, if you have any thoughts that sort of show up in the mind, you don't have to make those thoughts disappear. But instead of following them, simply say to yourself, hey, that's a thought. And if you have any emotions right now, you don't have to turn those emotions off. In fact, you can even label those emotions. You can say that's a fear or that's an anxiety, but use your awareness of its presence as an indicator to bring your attention back to the breath. If you notice any body sensations, an itch, a scratch, a pain, you don't have to follow it and become enmeshed with it and become distracted by it. In fact, you can say to yourself, that's an itch or that's a pain, and use it as an indicator to bring your attention back to the breath, always returning back to the breath, paying attention to the breath, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. And this is what mindfulness is all about. It's all about returning our attention to something that's important to us. You've done a great job practicing to this point. Let me put it now in context of diffusing from difficult emotions. You can open your eyes if you'd like to. You can take in a breath. You can feel fantastic and open your eyes. You just spent a moment practicing paying attention to the breath and directing your attention back to the breath. That's a basic strategy of mindfulness. But we can couple that with a truth, an awareness that sometimes we miss in everyday life. And that truth, that awareness is that you can be more than one thing at a time. Think about it for a minute. You can be both in pain, let's say a foot hurts, but comfortable in the shoulders. That's on a physical level. Emotionally, you can be both sad and happy at the same time. They seem to be two opposite emotions, but there are probably many times in your life you've felt a sense of happiness. At the same time, you've also felt a sense of sadness. We can choose where we focus our attention. We can focus it on something as simple as the breath by practicing mindfulness, or we can focus on an alternative emotion like happiness when we're feeling sadness. Not because sadness is bad to feel, but because we don't want to miss what else is present. And this is what we're going to integrate into our mindfulness practice in the MP3, which you'll find below. Unless your therapist directs you otherwise, what I'd like you to do between now and your next session is to listen to this MP3 at least once each day. It's about 6 minutes long. And take 6 minutes each day to actually practice the pattern or the process that's on the MP3 of first developing a mindful awareness and then choosing resource states that you can direct your attention to so that they can be amplified and become valuable tools to you. You can download the file right below here. You can click the music icon. It'll probably automatically download. If it doesn't, just right click on that icon or hit play and then click on the stream and then click save as, and it'll save. And you can put it on your phone. You can put it on your MP3 player. You can use it on the computer, or you don't have to download it. You can just come back and log in again and use this MP3 online. Either way is fine. But enjoy the practice. Coupling mindfulness, which actually is at the very top of this page, with some strategies for detaching from negative thoughts and feelings by choosing where we direct our attention.